So what is the best watch strap on Amazon? It's something I've wondered about for quite a long time, to be honest. So I ended up buying a bunch of different straps, which are what's hidden inside here. And we're going to be taking a brief look at them. They're all leather straps. I want to see if any of these brands are worth opting for or worth avoiding. And I also purchased a bunch of other straps recently too. So in some other video, maybe I'll compare those. But yeah, let's take a look at what you can get on Amazon. There we go. So most of these straps, they never really specify where they're actually produced, which almost always means made in China. And the quality can vary significantly between them. Something I have noticed straight out of the bat is this one, Hemsut watch bands, their logo and the arrangement there with the curved lower section. It looks an awful lot like Barton watch bands, as you can see here. So definitely taking inspiration from them, let's say. Barton bands themselves, by the way, they are quite popular, but they're not among the best sellers anymore on Amazon. These bands are okay. I used to quite like them. Had a few problems with the spring bars and the overall durability, so definitely not my favorite anymore. Here we have Hemsut, Anifit, Bison strap, Fulmosa, and Burfine. Now, how much did I pay for these? So the cheapest of the bunch was the Anfit, which was only £8.49. I think that one's green because it looked cool. Then we've got two very similarly priced ones, which is the Fulmosa and the Bison strap, which are around 15 UK pounds. And then the two slightly more expensive are the Burfine at just under 20 quid. And the Hemsut is the most expensive and supposedly Horween leather at a shade under £26. So yeah, they're still all pretty cheap as far as watch bands go. Let's start with the cheapest, eh? Why don't we go in price order? So first of all, the Anfit. Now I went with all the straps here that had the most amount of reviews and generally the highest rated reviews. So the best sellers, if you like. So very lightweight, I have to say. Whether that's good or not, it'll depend on your preference, I guess. But very, very lightweight. Genuine leather. Bit of controversy as to exactly what that means, but it should at least be made of leather. Whether the leather is actually any good might be another question. I mean, for £8.50, honestly, my first impressions aren't that bad. The only thing I won't be able to do in this video is provide you with an idea of how durable in the long term each of these are, but I can at least give you some first impressions. Now that buckle is not stainless steel, I do not think. I mean, it doesn't say it on it either. To me, that buckle feels like a lower end alloy of some sort, or potentially some sort of slightly heavier plastic, but it still feels very, very light indeed. So whether that could be a point of failure is one thing, but it does have quick release tabs, which seem to work okay. For £8.50, that's honestly not that bad. I will link all of these in the video description, by the way, if you're curious. Whether you can get the same strangely named brands internationally is a different thing entirely. For £8.50, actually, I've seen watch bands that are like £30 that are probably a bit worse than that. Let's have a look at Bison strap. Now, Bison strap, despite this strange branding, is one of the ones that's a little bit revered in online circles. People say these are pretty good for the money, and that is unusual. So I've just noticed that, yeah, the buckle is identical. So these are supposed to be from two different brands. And I mean, look at that. This is the Anfit right next to the Bison strap. They are identical buckles. So I mean, that could mean they're made by the same people, or it could mean they're just sourcing the buckles from the same supplier on like AliExpress or something. So suspiciousness about the buckle remains. But overall, fuck off focus, you piece of shit. So first impressions, it feels okay. This one was £15, so a bit more expensive. It's certainly thicker than the last one. And the outside feels reasonable. You don't get any sort of color change as you flex it, which you tend to get on some of the higher end bands. But my main suspicion here is that this backing is going to peel away. This immediately feels like the type of backing that after some wear is going to start scraping and chipping away on the edges. It's very sharp. It doesn't look awful, but that's definitely a weakness. I would say that's surely going to go. And even the sleeve is the same. So yeah, they could definitely be from the same supplier. And even the bag, actually, it's the same style of sealed top packaging. Next up is Fulmosa. So I have tried these before. I remember at the time I was relatively impressed, but then they seem to age very badly. But that was quite a few years ago, so maybe things have changed since then. Now these bands are different styles, of course, because I went for the most popular ones, as I said at the start. Out of the three, this immediately feels like the best constructed right off the bat. I mean, you can see it. This one looks the realist, if that's a word. You get that proper graining look. You can see when I bend the leather, it kind of changes colour slightly, which I tend to prefer. Definitely feels much better built than this previous one. The backing is also much smoother and nicer. I think that'll actually wear very well. I think that's a good product, to be honest, for the price. That's a lot better than the previous Fulmosa watch straps that I tried, no doubt. Now, whether that means they've improved or they just have significant quality difference between ranges, I don't know, because that is definitely something that happens. Let's get into some of the more pricey ones now. Burfine up next. This one was £20. Oh yes, this one's like a retro style, like a vintage style one. Very, very coarse rear on the back of this. Almost feels like cork, the backing. I mean, is it cork? No, it doesn't appear to be cork, but it certainly feels like it, whatever they've done to the leather there. There's no finishing on the side or anything like that either. It's still a little bit exposed. It's, I'd say, probably better quality than the first two. Not as good as that one I just looked at though. Feels relatively well constructed. I reckon that would age reasonably well. The clasp feels much, much better than the first two as well. Has that kind of faux distressed look. So it's got the edging like a patina kind of thing applied to the surface. So that one's okay. Actually not bad for the money, really. And now onto the most expensive of this bunch, the Hemsut, designed by Alexander, assembled in China. Let's have a look. Now, this one comes with a little tool from the looks of it. So it comes with the double-ended spring bar tool here, which is quite unusual considering that the watch straps actually ship with quick release spring bars anyway, so you shouldn't need that. Now, the only thing here with this one is that end piece of the spring bar is recessed fully in, and if that went into a watch, that isn't going to work. Oh, there we go, got it out. Let's have a look. Something's not right about that. There isn't enough there to grab onto a watch, I don't think. Which is kind of a shame, because this is, even though it seems to have more simplistic construction than the last one, I would definitely take it over the last one. The upper here is much nicer quality. Let's have a look at the other side. There you go. A nice Halloween leather stamp in the back. So apparently that's actually Halloween, but you never can be 100% sure with some of these Chinese brands. But yeah, I mean, you can see already it's changing colour. I think that is decent. I'd say out of this range though, the best of the bunch in terms of just pure build quality is actually the Fulmosa. I think that is as well built as the most expensive one, but is you know, significantly cheaper. So yeah, let me know what you think about these. Yeah, I'm just pretty curious about straps at the moment. This looks a lot like a Carl Friedrich watch strap that they used to make. So Carl Friedrich was like a leather company, and they make things like wallets and bags and things like that. And they make some really good products. And to my knowledge, they used to make watch straps at one point. And this looks very similar to one of their designs. Very, very similar. Now, obviously, I don't think theirs were made in China, I don't think. But there's certainly a resemblance there.